driving, hopefully don't come here, I was answering to residential phone calls. So it's,
Call the order of the Superior Planning and Zoning Commission. Stand for Pledge of Allegiance.
Gotta turn the other way now.
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Invocation. Dear Lord, thank you for keeping watch over the town of Superior. Thank you for the progress being made on Vestige Park and all the other projects going on in town. Please watch over the people on the East Coast with the hurricane. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call. Henry Munoz.
Present.
Sherry Fedor.
here,
David Gunn.
Here.
Jesse Garcia.
Present.
Matt Mashaw here. Joy Evelyn and Hank and Terrace are now present. Consent agenda. Approval of July 3rd, 2019 regular agenda minutes.
I move to approve the meeting minutes for the July 3rd meeting.
Motion made by David Gunn to approve the minutes of July 13th, 2019. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Henry Munoz. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve meetings of July 3rd, 2019. New business discussion, possible approval, resolution 2019-06. The resolution of the Planning and Zoning Commission of the Town of Superior recommending the Town Council amend Article 12. Is that right?
Yes.
Plan Development, PD, Zone District, Section 12-12.0.
The intent of this change is to, we are annexing a property, the Castleberry property, in the upcoming annexation, and it's planned end use is for dry camping. So in order to be able to support that, we don't have that in our code right now at all to allow it. So we're annexing a property that will be doing it, so we need to put some provision in there. And I'm told that the only real way to do it is a plan development district. So when we annex them, they may have to change their zoning, or if they annex in appropriately as a PD, then we would have to do that.
So we might just start using the property then?
Yes, they presented a plan at the community working group 2 months ago that showed 16 developed campgrounds and 20 some odd undeveloped campgrounds. So it's going to be the replacement for Oak Flat is the discussion, and so that is going to be a replacement campground.
Okay, because I know there's, well, my uncle and my aunt owned it, I know they developed their huge septic and all that, or so.
We're just going to be, and since we're annexing them, we want to be able to allow that, and right now our code will allow that.
Okay.
Good question, Matt. Todd, this annexation, is it gonna cover the back half of Box 8 Ranch also, or
Yes.
it is? Okay, my question is right now, this will include the Box 8 campground, right?
Right now, they would have to rezone as a PDD in order to do that, for that section that came in.
So
Right now, they are zone R3, which is not, this is only for PDs.
this is only gonna apply to Castleberry only, right?
Right. If we
Only
bring
the
in a PD.
Castleberry.
Somebody could apply to change the zoning to a PD, and then this board would have to approve that.
All right. I just wanted to make it clear that it was only gonna apply to Castleberry.
Gilman Brew Ranch, you know.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Any other questions?
I don't see any problem with dry camping, but the definition covers up to monthly camping. Wouldn't we want to limit it to, say, 14 days, like Forest Service does, or?
It's per article 5, page 25, 37, parking county land use regulations of state.
You'll have to speak louder, they can't hear you.
There is a specific rules and regulations, and that's, this was put in the PD, the time framing. It's per Article 5 of Park County Land Use Regulations of the United States.
The second part of this is changing the definition, or adding a definition of dry camping, and it talks about vehicle, camping, backpacking tents, RV vehicles for daily, weekly, or monthly stay. It sounds like it's unlimited. Maybe somebody could just set up camp and stay there forever.
Not forever.
Well, and that is, according to this, for that zoning, you're right, that you wouldn't be able to restrict that. So, monthly stays, I don't know that anybody's gonna stay for a solid month, but if they do, the Castleberry management would probably stop them, but yeah, it's up to this board. If you want to strike that line, we can move forward with the stroke.
Well, I just know that we had quite a bit of discussion over RVs being hidden, and and now we're talking about just letting them stay forever out there. I find that's a problem.
I would agree. So if you reflect that in your motion, you will strike that one.
Why that would be a problem if they pay fees and stay?
Well, it's the difference with dry camping is it's not an RV park, so they'd have to go away, dump their tanks, and then come back. It's not like a permanent state facility.
Right.
But I don't think that eliminating monthly is a particular problem.
Dry camping doesn't have any facilities, doesn't have water to put them.
Todd, who's gonna manage that property?
That's in discussion. I know Resolution has approached the State Parks Department about managing it for them.
So right now, we don't really have any type of rules or regulations pertaining to it.
No.
We're just looking at the rezone.
Correct. But they would have to submit a PD to you guys, because a PD is a plan development document. That means they are establishing their own set of zoning rules. So it would have to lay all that out and be approved by the P&Z Commission before it could be done. So PDs are not, just when you bring it in, even if we bring it in as a PD, it would have to have a PD document with it and an approved document.
This doesn't apply to just one specific property. This is any planned development.
Yes. Anybody can apply to get a plan development. And that means any property, say BHP sells their piece of land right next to the Superior Mining Support. They could go in there and submit a PD, a plan development, to say they want to put a campground there. And they would have to come to you and justify that, and then you can approve it or not. But that's what, it would be part of the PD language going forward.
Well, you see, only dry camping, I know there's septic down there, there's water, there's electric, so how can you call it actually dry camping? They do have RV pads already down there.
Yes, but they're not going to allow taps.
Okay.
Talk to resolution, they don't want to have developed camping. They don't want people staying long term.
Okay.
That was part of the discussion. So,
This isn't just about that property, though. This is about PD
Right.
zones.
Right, but the question was about, it was specifically about that
Yeah.
property. There are existing buildings on that property,
Right, there is.
but those are also already tied to the septic and everything else. And those are kind of a separate issue from the dry camping. But they would have to apply for a RV park if they wanted to put in that's actually tied to the sewer, RV tub. And then, again, it'd have to come back here.
Some
That'd be
design
approved.
plans.
But that's already allowed in a PD. That's not a change.
Dry camping is a very simple campground. Doesn't have
It
any,
could be just pitching a tent.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much
basically land.
exactly what they're doing at Oak Flat. Same thing.
There still are sanitary facilities, right? Who's responsible for maintenance?
That's part of again, that's very specific to that property, but at Oak Flat is the forestry. This one, Resolution, is going to be responsible for that, but again, they're trying to contract it out to state parks. That deal has not been signed, so that's not set in stone. So I don't know who's going to manage the rest of it.
That can be a real mess.
Well, my comment is I don't have a problem with adding dry camping into the PD zone, but limit it to 14 days.
I got a question. I was missing the last meeting, so I'm reading in the fog about this Canterbury. Where's that located?
Castleberry, well, it wasn't a meeting of this board, it was a meeting of the community working group 2 months ago. The Castleberry is down in Martinez Ranch.
It's on the.
Martin Ranch?
Yeah, Martinez Ranch down.
Oh, okay.
Right across this road from.
Blue property says 1B,
If you look at your map,
Yeah.
south of the town of Superior property, southwest.
You know, when you're going down from the airport, Jesse,
Yeah.
you're on the road, you drive all the way down, you get to that little creek where the sanitary water goes through under the road.
Creek Creek.
It's to the right, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the Castleberry property.
Okay.
so my understanding is if a motion was made to the point of dry camping may be defined as provision for camping, backpacking tents, and RV vehicles for daily, weekly, or weekly stays not to exceed 14 days. Is that how you would like to modify it?
Yes.
But that would be a motion, and then the board would have to ratify.
And like you said, it only applies to Castleberry, right?
It applies to PDs, and right now, the whole point is so that when we bring Castleberry in, they can apply for a PD and put dry camping out there, but anyone else could apply for a PD anywhere else in town. And this is adding that language permanently to the PD language. But, you know, of course, they would have to justify it to the Planning and Zoning Commission, so. And I don't think we want a campground downtown, so.
They will have to submit design plan for our RV park. If they want, dry camping is a very simple, what I read about the dry camping definition is a very simple campground. Basically, land maybe has tables, maybe has benches, maybe has a fireplace, that's it. Doesn't have any sanitary sewer utilities or water, bathrooms, none of that.
They may have them as a central facility, which is what, like I said, what all campgrounds have. One bath.
They have 2 smaller block buildings. I think one has washing clothes, the other one basically.
Yeah, and that's pretty standard. And,
Yeah.
Again, they would have to submit a plan to us and we would approve it.
Okay.
If they're in town limits, the difference here is they can do that now. They can do whatever they want out there right now. They have to go through the county, not to us. When we annex them, we're going to have some ability to review their plans and say yes or no. And if we want to support the possibility of it being a campground, which we probably do, we have to have some language in our code saying that a campground is at least possible in the town. We don't want to do it in all the residential zones or the existing zones. We want it to be a PD. PDs are expensive. You have to apply $1,000 plus $100 per acre, I believe, for a PD. So Resolution is going to have to submit, if that's a 40-acre parcel, I believe, or 80-acre.
Was it 60, I think?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but it'd be like, it's a lot of money. So to do that, it'd be like a $5,000 application. So I don't think this is, the average residential landowner is going to apply to have it. And it has to be prepared by an engineer, so that document may cost you $20,000.
And
Those pesky engineers are expensive.
Anything else on item one? Any other comments on item two? Besides the one change for, instead of monthly, 14 days max?
I move that we approve resolution number 2019-06 as written.
I'll second that.
Motion made by David Gunn to approve 2019-06, seconded by Jesse Garcia second by on 2019-06. How do you vote, Henry?
Yes.
Yes. Joy? Sherry?
Yes.
Henry said votes yes. Sherry votes yes. David?
Yes.
Yes by David Gunn. Jesse?
Yes.
Yes by Jesse Garcia and yes by Matt. Motion carries to accept 2019-06. Okay, 2019-07.
I move that we approve that with the following change. Dry camping may be defined as provisions for camping, backpacking, tents, and RV vehicles for stays not exceeding 14 days.
Okay. Motion made by David Gunn. Do I hear a second?
Yeah.
Are we gonna say consecutive days? 14 consecutive days?
Okay.
Okay, we'll make it 14 consecutive days.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Henry Munoz. How do you vote, Henry?
Yes.
Yes vote by Henry Munoz. Sherry? Yes vote by Sherry Fedor. David?
Yes?
Yes vote by David. Yes?
Yes.
Yes vote by David and yes vote by Matt. Motion passes for 2019-07. Okay, number 3, discussion on annexation and annexation map.
The Community Development Committee has been working on annexation for a while now. They sent out letters to everyone who was affected and reached out to try to communicate with them to talk about whether or not they wanted to be annexed. We received some comments from the area to the north of Arboretum Road saying that they weren't interested in being annexed. They would rather stay in the county. So we wrote the lines around them. Also, the little yellow properties, number 1 and 2, those are state properties. Annexing state property would delay the project significantly because it has to be approved by a state commission, which means maybe not hear this for a year, so it would slow up the annexation approval. So it was easier just to draw a line around them. They also have no tax benefit to the town or anything else, so it's really not worth the effort to go after. This allows us to annex everything to the south of town, and all of the land exchange properties that the town may purchase, the airport contiguous properties, and the remaining section of the airport, which was the original impetus. It also brings the large school district lot, which may be developed at some point in the town limits, and the box 8 comes into town limits. The 10 property, they were very positive about annexation. While that is a very hilly lot, it's also very large. At some point it may be developed, and they wanted to be annexed as well. The strengths of this annexation map is that there aren't a lot of people in here who have expressed a strong desire not to be in it. The weakness is that it's very dependent on MRS signing. MRS is over half the value of the properties out there. If they decide to sign no, then the annexation will not pass. So we're talking that to MRS. They have indicated they would like to be annexed, but they have not yet reviewed and signed and sent back the annexation agreement with Wiley. So This process, when we do annex the properties, the Planning and Zoning Commission will have to be, it could take up to a year. Next year, we will have to update our general plan again. That general plan will have to general plan these new annexed areas. So, it's going to be a larger general plan than our previous ones. The previous general plan does cover some of these areas, but not all of them. The Imerys properties are mining properties, and they're going to be grandfathered. They're going to be brought in as mining properties. So we're not going to be able to regulate their mining activity, which is kind of core to them being annexed.
Is that the Perlite area?
Yes. So, but we would have some regulatory ability for drilling permits and everything else out in that area, because the town has a geophysical code that requires anybody who's doing drilling or sampling or digging to apply for a permit to be approved by town council. So it does give us a little more control out there. This area is most of the area covered by the recreational user group plan. It's one of the mitigations for the Resolution Copper project. And for all these trails are going to be built out there for the economic development of the community, we want to have some ability to make sure that they stay and to be able to regulate them a little bit. So annexing them makes sense. Again, that makes Imerys very important. So we're going to have to work really hard to bring them on.
Do you have an estimated annual tax increase as a result of this?
I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it's about $30,000, $35,000 with all the properties in. Imerys is valued about $1 million, and they pay about $12,000, and there's a bunch of other properties in
Most of this is Forest Service land, it looks like.
there. Yes.
What's the mechanism for annexing Forest Service land?
Forest Service doesn't need a vote. You can annex Forest Service all you want. They can't even say no. What you have to remember though is it doesn't immediately give you any regulatory authority over Forest Service. You can't. The Forest Service says a use is allowed, the town can't come in and say no, you can't. But it does, if we have an interest out there, we can protect our interest. That's kind of the gray area that means we can go out there and do some things to try to make sure we're doing.
So basically, Imerys, just by the 1862 mining law, they can still do what they want to do, right?
The difference being that as a town, towns have the ability in state law to issue permits for mining. Counties do not. So counties cannot regulate mining activity, construction at all. So they can build whatever plant they want, the county doesn't even review the permits.
Yeah.
But cities, at some point, can review the permits. What we have to agree in order to get these properties annexed is likely going to be that we aren't going to do any extra regulatory activity over and above what they have now. That's the only way they're probably going to agree to be annexed. And, so it may not give us as much benefit for Imerys, but any operation that's already on the forest that doesn't have patented claims doesn't get a vote. So we get to annex them and maybe get some control over what happens. And it's not a silver bullet. It doesn't immediately give us the ability to say no to things, but at least gives us a voice. I talked a lot. I'm sorry. Does anybody have any questions about this? The plan was to put it on to start the process this month, but there are a few delays. We may end up actually starting in October, and there's a long list of things you need to do for an annexation. You notify this person, wait 30 days. Put this posting out, wait 6 days. Put a sign up on a property, wait another 6 days, and then have public hearings, and then a resolution to the council, and then they put out their petition, and then we have to get the petition signed. So we're working forward on this. Hopefully we can talk to Imerys to get a pre-annexation deal signed before we actually put it up. But that's where we stand on it. Again, the main reason I put this on the agenda is just so that all the boards understand what's going on. And when your component of it comes up, you're prepared for it. Things like the Castleberry issue, right? There's going to be little issues that you guys are going to have to adjust in the code to make everything work.
Anyone have any questions about it?
Well, I'm familiar with the property, but I've got a lot of time working putting fences down there.
So the city will be negotiating with Emirates in effect to come up with an agreement.
Yeah.
sort of.
Some of the things we'll be attempting to verify is that Silver King Road runs through their property, and we would like them to guarantee that they aren't going to shut down Silver King Road and it stays open. Forest Road number 4, we've been working with the forestry. They're going to help us, and they think within 6 months they can have a bypass road approved. So we're working on that. But again, we have a seat at the table because if we annex these properties and we can adopt these roads, they become our roads. And we can enforce a right of way on them, grade them, make sure that they remain intact.
Looking at the map, how come, like, where the Boy Scouts sort of Arboretum is, does that include the houses that are down there too?
No, if you see the little blue ones right across the road,
Yeah.
those are all the houses. And we sent out mailers to all of those people, and then members of the Community Development Committee reached out to them and spoke to them. I spoke to 2 of them myself, and everybody I spoke to did not want to be annexed. Felt strongly they didn't want to be annexed. And since the housing values there are quite high, they had a fairly strong vote, and if they would have voted against it, it would have immediately put the annexation at jeopardy. So it was easier just to draw the annexation lines around them to honor their wishes, so that it's not a hostile annexation.
Are you talking about the houses across
Yeah.
60?
On the left side, on the south side of the highway?
Yeah, those aren't even on the
No,
annexation?
that's why I asked why they weren't on there. They're outside.
Okay.
The Arboretum has a number of reasons why they want to be annexed. We provide fire service, which they need in order to get their insurance, and if they go to expand their infrastructure and they need somebody to provide sewer, we'll have to expand the sewer out in that area to cover it. But we already have staff, so it's not like we have to add up full-time management staff in order to run it. So the reason the town might like to annex the Arboretum is they're talking about at some point trying to sell a part of their property and build a resort on it, which would be a significant economic development boom for the town.
You're talking about a couple of months before this actually becomes an approvable item?
Yes. Well, it'll be approved by the council, there'll be a public hearing, then it'll be approved by the council, and then we have to get the petition signed by half of the property owners and half of the assessed value. So that could take up to a year, and then it'll come back to council and it'll be finalized.
Any other questions? Good? Good. Gary?
Oh, that's weird.
Okay, I guess we want to do call the public, huh?
You can do it. There won't be any.
Okay, do I hear a motion to close the meeting?
Motion not?
Motion made by Henry Munoz, seconded by Sheriff Dorr. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries to adjourn the meeting of Planning and Zoning Committee.
Getting exciting.
Yeah, so-
Plans.